Welcome into Titans Today. I am Will Scott here to preview this game on Sunday over in the DMV. The Titans making the trip to the Washington, D.C. area to take on the Commanders. Kickoff Sunday at noon Central Time. The Titans coming in after two straight wins. They are 2-2. They have turned their season around and now currently sit in, well, I should say in a tie for first place in the AFC South. That's the good thing about being in a pretty bad division like the AFC South. You're always going to be in contention regardless of the start you get in. But the Texans, way down there at 0-3, not a surprise. Colts 1-2-1, and then the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars tied for first in the division right now with a 2-2 record. So look, this is an important game. I understand that we're still somewhat early into the season, but the difference between 2-3 and 3-2, I feel like, is pretty significant. So certainly a game the Titans should win on Sunday, given the fact that they're playing a pretty bad Commanders team. But that being said, let's talk about the keys to victory. Number one is to play all 60 minutes. And unfortunately, we have not seen the Titans do that a whole lot this season, at least in the first two games. But I want to see some consistency from this football team from start to finish. And when you look at the Commanders, they come in 1-3. They come in with 3 straight losses. You're playing a football team that's really struggling while you have won 2 straight games. And the lack of turnovers is another thing to look at here for the Titans. We're going to give that in a second. But when you look at their second half woes, they've been outscored 64-7 in the second half this season. That is not good. So like I said, start to finish, I want to see this Tennessee football team play a solid 60 minutes. Look, I get it. The Commanders aren't good, but any game in the National Football League, especially on the road, is going to be tough. You cannot afford to get off to a bad start. And you certainly can't afford to not finish strong. When you look at the Titans' offense, what they did in the second half this coming last week, 3 plays, -6 yards, 3 plays, 3 yards, 3 plays, 8 yards, 5 plays, 13 yards, 6 plays, 10 yards, and that was the end of the game. So they got to do better in the second half this time around. They have struggled in the second half the entire season. In fact, they rank last in the NFL in second half scoring with 1.8 points per game. I cannot believe that crap. It's unbelievable. 1.8 points per game. This is not a good football team in the second half, and the Tennessee Titans want to be a Super Bowl contender. You're talking about the team that was number 1 in the AFC last year. They've been shut out in 3 straight second halves. That is a problem. Meanwhile, the second half defense, they've given up 16 points per game in the second half. Titans defense, that ranks 29th in the National Football League. So the offense has not been good. The defense has not been good. The offense has been worse than defense in the second half. But still, the defense has got to step up. Guys, help us keep our winning streak going. Subscribe to Titans Today. We've gained a lot of new subs after those 2 wins. Don't jinx it, because the Commanders might win if you do not subscribe. Go down, subscribe to the channel, because it's the best way to stay in the loop with Tennessee Titans news. Number 2 key here is to force turnovers. You're playing Carson Wentz. That should not be a very hard thing to do. Put pressure on Wentz, force him to make mistakes. Wentz has forced a couple passes this year. Right now he's got 5 interceptions. 1 fumble lost, ranks 4th. Tied for 4th, I should say, with QB turnovers. So Wentz has been struggling, a turnover machine, as producer Nick Roloff says. So Wentz is a guy that you should be able to win the turnover battle against. I'm not too worried about Carson. He's put up a lot of yards this year, but he's also turned the ball over quite a bit as well. So that's certainly a matchup I'm curious to see. Carson against Jeffrey Simmons and Kevin Byard in this very, very solid Tennessee defense. When you look at the lack of turnovers, defense has only caused 6 turnovers so far. That ranks tied for 12th in the NFL. So this is a game that the defense can really get their confidence up, right, against the quarterback in Carson Wentz. That has been struggling coming in. If you're feeling good about this game on Sunday, Titans fans, go bet on Tennessee at chatsports.com/bet. And if you use promo code Dolphins125, or I should say chat125, you're going to get a 125% deposit bonus. That is the promo code. That is the link. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code chat125 to pick up your 125% deposit bonus. Got to keep the freight train going. Got to keep them going. Derrick Henry, man, I want this guy to go off. I want this guy to run for 150 yards against the Commanders' defense on Sunday. If he has a solid game, I really don't see a world where the Washington Commanders win this football game. In fact, the only way they win this game is if they can shut Henry down. Season high, 147 scrimmage yards last week. 22nd career game with over 100 rushing yards and a rushing touchdown. Most in the NFL since he entered the league out of Alabama in 2016. Aiming for his 4th in a row with rushing TD and 3rd in a row with 140-plus scrimmage yards. So Henry has been a machine, and he's been a big reason that the Titans have won 2 games in a row and have turned their season around after an 0-2 start. 76 carries, 306 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 yards per carry for Derrick Henry this season. He's been back to being King Henry these last 2 weeks, and that's been huge for Mike Vrabel and company, getting this season back on track. Meanwhile, the Commanders have given up 112 rushing yards per game. So when you're looking at some of these matchups, I'm not too worried about what Tennessee's going to be able to do against them. I understand it's a road game, but Washington has been struggling on both sides of the ball. Derrick Henry should go for 150 on Sunday. And yes, I do mean that. It should be a 150-yard game for King Henry on Sunday. Guys, if you love the Titans, go down, like the video, hit the thumbs up icon if you're all about the Tennessee Titans. What is your biggest key for the Titans in this game? Go down the comment section. Is it to get Ryan Tannehill going? Is it to win the turnover battle? Is it Henry going for over 100 yards? What is your biggest key? I want to hear it down in the comment section. Go down, let me know. Number 4 is to get to Carson Wentz, and that kind of goes with forced turnovers because if you get to Carson Wentz, you're probably going to win this football game. You're going to cause Carson to make some mistakes. He does have a forced fumble this season, so if you have Jeffrey Simmons and company put pressure on Carson Wentz, it might be a long day for the Commanders, and they have the worst offensive line in the league, quite literally. They've given up the most sacks in the NFL with 17 sacks in the first 4 weeks. Get to Carson Wentz, and you win this football game, I think, because the Commanders have given up that many sacks. What's their record? It's 1-3. They're one of the worst teams in the league this season, at least so far. When you look at Danico Autry, he had a great game against Indianapolis in that win. 2 sacks, 1 tackle for loss, 1 forced fumble. Meanwhile, Rashad Weaver had a sack in his first career forced fumble against the Colts. Those 2 come in with some momentum, which is fantastic right now for this Titans team. Talking about the injury report now with the Commanders. Jahan Dotson, he's doubtful. Jahan Dotson's doubtful with a hamstring. Chase Young will not play. That's significant. One of the best pass rushers in the league. He's out with a knee injury. Trey Turner questionable with a quad. Brian Robinson is out with the knee, and then Sam Cosmi just had thumb surgery. ESPN.com lists him as questionable, but I don't see a world he plays. He literally just had thumb surgery this week. Talking about the Titans injury report, Treylon Burks doubtful with the toe injury. Bud Dupree is questionable. Zach Cunningham questionable. Amani Hooker questionable with a concussion coming up. He's in protocol. Ola Adeniyi, neck injury. He's questionable. And then Ugo Amadi, ankle injury. He is questionable. And then you have Treylon Burks, the injured rookie wide receiver. We'll certainly continue to update you on his status, but right now he is doubtful with a toe injury. 10 receptions this season, 129 yards. Have yet to see him be what the Titans drafted this guy to be, right? And that includes what he did in the preseason. But he has so much potential. I know that they've talked about getting him more involved in the offense, but he's likely out for Sunday's game. Subscribe to the channel. We'll continue to keep you posted on his status. But what Titans injury concerns you the most? Go down in the comments section and let me know what you think. Is it Burks? Is it Bud Dupree? Zach Cunningham? For me, it's Zach Cunningham. You need this guy on the football field. Let me know down in the comments section. And if you made it to the end of the video, like the video to get more Tennessee Titans content. Shout out producer Nick Roloff. He's been a huge help helping us get more content to you. If you want more content, hit the thumbs up icon, like the video.